Hey guys, it's Ashley and welcome back to my very first book haul in quite a long time. How are you? I've missed you. It's currently June, which means that I am definitely in the mood for some summer contemporaries. This is just a thing that happens to me. I see the sun outside, I go to sit by the pool, and I just want to read a cutesy romance love story. So I have a few of those to share with you guys, and then I also have a few fantasy and other books. So it's gonna be a little bit of a hodgepodge thing here, but we're gonna start with the contemporaries because summer. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first book that I have here to show you is my very first Sarah Dessen book ever. This is quite the momentous occasion since she has like 13 books out, and that is The Rest of the Story, which was released on June 4th of this year. This video is being sponsored by HarperCollins, so thank you so much for sending me a copy of this book, and wait for it, I'm the cutest sun hat I've ever had. Like, look at this, look. Ready? YA all day. This is so cute and I cannot wait to take some photos with it. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, HarperCollins. But let's get back to the book. Like I said, I'm in the mood for some summer contemporaries, and this one I feel like is gonna have just the right amount of romance and also just the right amount of like finding yourself, because when I read the synopsis, that's what I get from it. So let me share with you what it's about. So we follow a girl named Emma Saylor whose mother died when she was young, and she doesn't really remember a lot about her mother, only the stories that her mom would tell her about this big lake that she used to live on. And so for the summer, Emma is unexpectedly sent to go live on this lake with her mother's family that she hasn't seen in a really long time. So it turns out her mother grew up in the working class North Lake, and her father spent his summers in the wealthier North Lake resort. So Emma, as she's here, is feeling very split between the two parts of herself, her mom and her dad. So we've got that going on, and in addition, there is this guy named Rue, who was the first best friend that she ever had, and he comes back into the picture, and he holds the key to her family's history, and slowly he helps her put the pieces together about her past. It's not hard to get caught up in the magic of North Lake, and Saylor finds herself falling under Rue's spell. Like I said, the perfect blend of a romance and also finding yourself coming of age kind of thing. I love all of that put together, and I'm very excited to start reading this. Maybe sitting by the pool this summer. I'm ready. Also, I'm really excited because this is, like I said, my first Sarah Dessen book, and Sarah Dessen is known for writing contemporaries, and she's written a lot of them. So I'm hoping that this will get me to start the plunge into reading more of her work and have some really good contemporary stories to read this summer. Like I said, this book came out on June 4th, which means when my video goes up, it has already been out for a few weeks, a week or two, so go ahead and get your hands on it if you're looking for a brand new contemporary to read this summer, because I'm definitely gonna be reading it. And thank you once again to HarperCollins for sending me this book and my adorable sun hat. I am so excited to wear that while I'm reading this book. I cannot wait. Now I want to go ahead and haul some of the contemporary books that I recently got on my Kindle, because while I was in Europe before my trip got canceled, I was reading nonstop. Like, it was so crazy. We would go out and explore, we'd come back, and I'd like literally finish a book in a day. It was insane. So one of the first books that I got, mainly so that I could read it like on the plane and in the airports, was Christine's book, Again But Better. Look, and I can hold it up like this so that you can see the cover at least a little bit. So if you don't know, her book is all about this girl who goes to London for a study abroad without telling her parents what it's actually for, gets caught up in all of the drama that ensues, and also meets some new friends. And there's a bit of a magical quality to this that I wasn't expecting that happens somewhere in like the middle toward the end of the book, which kind of explains the whole title, Again But Better. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun, quirky read, and I definitely saw Christine in like all aspects of this book. Like every like line that came out of Shane's mouth, I was like, okay, this is Christine. It was a really good book to read while I was abroad because she was abroad, so it was like she was in Paris, and I was like, oh, this is what it's gonna feel like when I'm gonna be in Paris. So overall, I just picked the right time and the right place to be reading this book, and it was a really, really good story. I really enjoyed it. So then I went on a little bit of a like hiatus. So I started thinking back to when I was younger, and I would read on Wattpad, and I would read some of those contemporary books, and for some reason one really stuck out to me that I remember really liking when I was younger, and I know that the author of it who put it on Wattpad had gotten it published by now, so I went on Amazon to see if I could find it, and I found it. And so that book The Heartbreakers. If you know what this is before I give you the synopsis, I don't really have a way to explain why I felt like rereading it, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Think of like the most cheesiest out of this world plotline, and that's kind of this book. So we follow a girl who is a triplet, and there is a really famous boy band called the Heartbreakers. And so this girl, Stella, hates them and their music, but her twin sister, Kara, loves them and their music. And her twin sister, Kara, is actually suffering from cancer. She has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, I believe. And so as a birthday gift, Stella and her other triplet, Drew, they go on a road trip to Chicago to go get something signed by the band, and then she ends up meeting the lead singer without knowing it's the lead singer, and then she ends up finding that they're in the same hotel as them, and then they hang out with them, and then things happen, and there's like a romance. It's like the cheesiest book, but it just like puts a smile on your face whenever you read it, and that's why I love it. And what's even better is that the author, Ali Novak, is making 3 other books revolving around the romances of each member of the band. Oh god, what am I doing to myself? So the second book that she's put out is called Paper Hearts, and if you don't think that I didn't download that, then where have you been? Because it is on my Kindle and it's already been read. Paper Hearts revolves around Alec, who is like the quiet, brooding type of the boy band. And there's this whole like masquerade ball where he meets this girl, and then they go on a road trip because this girl's sister is like ran away when she was younger, but then turns out it's like not really what it seems, and they go to try to find her sister, and then there's like another secret romance. They're all just like really cute, cheesy stories. Like, I just keep saying cheesy. They're not like all cheese, but a good portion of them are. And sometimes you just want a good cheesy story in your life. So don't knock me for rereading these books, because I still enjoyed them 7 years later, however long ago it was that I read these for the first time. And then because I was still craving that cheesy romance comedy kind of thing, I downloaded her other book. So I just gave this girl a lot of money, but you know, it's fine. She's making me laugh. She's making me have an enjoyable time reading, so I support her in any way that I can. You go, girl. I read My Life with the Walter Boys, which I had also read when I was younger and on Wattpad, and she had it up for free. This story is like epitome of cheese. So there's a girl and her family dies in a car crash, and so she is sent to live with her mother's family friend who lives in Colorado, I think, on like a big ranch. And just turns out, you know, extra little note that nobody knew, she has 12 sons. So this girl who's like this prim proper, I only went to a girls boarding school in New York, is sent on to live on this ranch with 12 boys in the middle of nowhere, and it's great. So yeah, if any of you have read those or want to read them, let me know, because we can have some talks and discussions in the comments below, because they're great. So anyway, I did that, and that's all I'm gonna say. So now we're gonna get into a few of the fantasies that I've recently picked up or received in the mail, and the first of which is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This book is already out. It says May 2019, so I'm a little late with this, but I did receive this in the mail from Simon Teen, I believe. McElderly is Simon, so thank you so much, Simon Teen. Margaret Rogerson also wrote An Enchantment of Ravens, which I did not read, but this one has been getting really good reviews from people, so I am very excited to see what this is about. Oh, it's about a great library of sorcery. I'm already intrigued. So this girl, Elizabeth, has grown up to believe that all sorcerers are evil, and then one day the library is sabotaged and she's accused of treason, and then she has to find an ally in the sorcerer, Nathaniel Thorne, which I'm assuming something comes of that, and she's got to team up the person she thought was evil, and then she finally realizes that they're not all evil, and that it was just how society was putting something on something to make somebody believe that they were evil or something. That's a Sorcery of Thorns, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, I have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, which I actually am like on page 100 of, because I am trying to buddy read this with a friend of mine outside of BookTube, because she really wanted to start reading more books, and I was like, okay, let's go to the bookstore, let's find a book that we're both interested in, and let's try to read it. So we both looked at this. I'd heard really good reviews about it, and she was like, it sounds interesting, so we decided to pick it up. It's been like 2 months, and we haven't gotten past page 100 because life got in the way, so I'm still trying to figure out what happens, but so far it's really, really good. For those of you who don't know, it's basically about this famous private school in Vermont that is known for the kidnapping and or murder, I can't remember if it's murder or not, of the founder's like wife and daughter. And so the only thing that was left over from that was a signature of somebody called Truly Devious. And so many years later, there's this girl who comes into the next class of that boarding school. Her name's Stevie Bell, and she really, really wants to know and dig deeper into what happened and find out why this happened, or whatever the case is. And then one day, this guy, Truly Devious, makes a surprise return and someone gets away with murder, and they have to figure out what is happening before anybody else gets hurt. Like I said, I've gotten 100 pages into it, and I really do enjoy it so far, and I really want to know what's happening. And whereas everybody here probably knows I am not a huge thriller, mystery, like paranormal, or psychological thriller kind of fan. And this really doesn't strike me as that. This really feels like just a good old like Nancy Drew mystery. So I'm very excited to see what is gonna happen. Please nobody spoil me in the comments. I really just wanna like keep this to myself, but I'm very excited. Next up, I have Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, which you guys know was one of my most anticipated releases this year. And I don't know if I shared this with anybody yet on here, but I have it. It's in my hands. I would have gotten it on ebook, but I got the physical copy because they were doing a pre-order campaign, and you get like a short story book or something of like something that happens in Illuminae, so that's why I did it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably could have just gotten it on ebook and sent that receipt in, but you know what? It's fine. Everything's fine. I won't go too much into detail on this book because I do just have a book talk up that I recently put up last week, so it'll be in the description below if you guys want to know more. But it's a sci-fi story about this ragtag team on a squad, and they have to save the world, and it's great. The second to last book that I have here is Aru and the Song of Death by Roshni Chokshi, which is book 2 in the Aru the Pandava series. I'm not sure if I have a review up for Aru or not, so if I do, it'll be in the description, and if I don't, here's my little synopsis right here. Aru and the End of Time, which is the first book, is all about this girl named Aru who finds out that she is the daughter of a Hindu god and also a reincarnated Pandava brother. And so you dive into this world of Hindu mythology and you learn a lot about it, and you just follow this young girl, because this is a middle grade series, who is doing all of these things in her Spider-Man pajamas, and it's so adorable and so funny. This one I'm actually really excited about because the last book left off on a pretty big cliffhanger, and I'm very eager to see who that is. This is one of the Rick Riordan Presents books, and it feels like a Percy Jackson book. It's like one of those kind of things, which is probably why I'm so drawn to it. But I'm very excited to see where this is gonna go, because the first book, like I said, was really good and really funny, and I'm just like overall just looking forward to this so much. Also, this was sent to me by Disney Hyperion, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And then the last books that I have to share are actually a big series that belonged to my sister previously, but I found in my closet, so I'm gonna haul them here because I have plans for these, and that is the Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin, which, if you've watched the show, you know it just did not do anything good. No, in all honesty, I did start watching the show last year, and I did finish the last season, and I was not a fan, as I'm sure many people were not, and I know many people were not, but I am hauling this now, also mostly because I found it in my closet and it belonged to my sister, and so I'm gonna take it, but also because I've never read the books, and I've said this on my channel before that I wanted to read these books before I watched the show, but then I watched the show and I got addicted to it, so I kept watching it. But I've heard that after this book, I think, possibly, it goes different from the show. I'm excited to see how this one goes. Also, he hasn't like written the last one yet, right? So but if he is still going to write the last one, because that's a big if, so it's taken him so long, he knows how not to end it. So that's a good thing, right? And everybody, so that is my summer book haul of right now. I'm definitely looking forward to getting into my first Sarah Dessen book so that I could possibly start reading more of her this summer, and also of getting into Game of Thrones so that I could see just how different they are from the show. Don't forget that the rest of the story by Sarah Dessen is in stores now, so I'll have a link in the description below where you can go grab it if you're interested. And thank you once again to HarperCollins for sponsoring this video. I really, really appreciate it. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, or if you have a particular Sarah Dessen book that you enjoyed more than the others, because I'm definitely looking to jump into one of those after I read that. But other than that, that is going to be it for this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Goodbye!